Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering unboxing. So we are now on the third of the 5 Commander 2021 decks. I think they're also referring to this as Commander Strixhaven maybe, because it's come out at the same time as the Strixhaven School of Mages set. This is the Witherbloom Witchcraft deck. It's the black-green enemy colours one. So same as the other ones, we get a deck box, obviously 100 cards, commander deck. There's 70 new cards in here and 10 double-sided token cards. We've got a life wheel, strategy insert and a reference card. So interesting to see what's in this black-green deck. So I think you've seen this before. What they've got is these sort of punch out items which are actually part of the packaging. This foil here isn't a card, it's just been printed onto the packaging itself. And you'll see there is a second copy of the Willow Dusk Essence Seer card in the deck, but you'll see what form that takes when I get to the end of the video. As I think I've mentioned before, these deck boxes are made out of pretty thin cardboard, but you know, they serve a purpose. And also, once these are single sleeved, the deck will fit in here. This is just a spacer basically. So this thing, so this is the life counter. So 40 down to 21 on one side and then 20 down to 1 on the other. We have a Learn to Play Commander insert. Okay. Just how to play the deck on one side. So yeah, I didn't point this out before, but this is obviously customized for each deck, so it's not the same insert repeated over and over again. There are different things for the different decks. This gives you some idea of how to play it. Okay, so it looks like you're leveraging, and then on the other side, which we have seen, this is obviously unique for each deck because it gives a biog of the lead card plus some other protagonists within the deck. What we'll find in a moment is there'll be the main commander and then there'll be an alternate commander. Let's get that on camera. Both in foil. So let's go through the deck. This could be quite a long video. There's usually a lot going on in these now. Okay, so let's look at Willow Dusk Essence here first. So 1 black green, 3/3 legendary creature, Dryad Druid. It's actually quite difficult to read this with the watermark. It's quite a heavy watermark. Legendary creature, Dryad Druid. 1 tap, choose another target creature. Put a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of life you gained this turn or the amount of life you lost this turn. Whichever is greater, activate only as a sorcery. And something else I'll point out here, if you haven't seen the other videos I've done on these decks so far, is the number scheme down the bottom. We'll pay particular attention to that because where it's got over 81, all of these are new cards. Everything else in the deck is either going to be a beyond that, beyond the ones that are all over 81, anything else is either going to be a reprint from anywhere in Magic's history, or a card from the most recent set. And you'll spot that because the set logo will actually be different for those cards that are from the most recent set, but everything else will have this regular set logo regardless of whether it's a reprint or a new card. And we've got Giome Master Chef, 2 black-green legendary creature, Troll Warlock. It's a 5/3 with trample. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. 1, sacrifice a food. Target creature gains indestructible until the end of the turn. Tap it. So these look like this is going to be the Strixhaven cards. We've got Honor Troll, 2 green creature Troll Druid, 2/3 vigilance. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. Honor Troll gets +2/+1 as long as you have 25 or more life. So I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see cards that are going to gain you life, but also that life gain needs to have an outlet of some description. So I'm assuming it's going to be leveraged in some way. Diana Soul Steeper, black-green legendary creature, Dryad Druid. So 1/3, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. 1, sacrifice another creature. Diana Soul Steeper gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. So this is something else I've noticed in the deck. Although there's only 2, the primary and a secondary commander, there seems to be a 3rd card in the deck which is also legendary and also on colour, but it's not sufficiently synergistic with the deck as a whole so that you could use that as a 3rd commander. But I'm definitely seeing a pattern here where there seems to be a 3rd on colour legendary in the deck. And so, if you wanted to play this as the commander, then the deck would, I imagine, require an awful lot of tweaking and substituting of cards that make it much more synergistic. Oh, and by the way, that's from Strixhaven. Mortality Spear, 2 black-green instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast. If you gain life this turn, destroy target non-land permanent. Witherbloom Campus, so it's got the appropriate dual land from the set. So these enter the battlefield tapped. This one taps for black or green. 4 taps, scry 1. So they're all the same essentially, but they just tap for different enemy colours across the different decks we have here. Study Hall, tap, add colourless. 1 tap, add 1 mana of any colour. When you spend this mana to cast your commander, scry X, where X is the number of times it's being cast from the command zone this game. So we've seen this in all the decks so far. You'll notice this is actually one of the 81 new cards. Ancient Craving, so now we're actually moving on to non-Strixhaven cards. This is one of the reprints. You can see there's just a number on it. Ancient Craving, 3 in a black, sorcery, you draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. Bloodthirsty Aerialist, 1 and 2 black, creature vampire rogues, got flying, it's a 2/3, and whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Bloodthirsty Aerialist. Epicure of Blood, 4 and a black, creature vampire, it's 4/4, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Feed the Swarm, 1 and a black sorcery, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls, you lose life equal to the opponent's mana value. Greed, 3 and a black enchantment, black, play 2 life, draw a card. So you can see how the that life gain that the deck's going to give you is being leveraged. Reckless Spite, 1 and 2 black, instant, destroy 2 target non-black creatures, you lose 5 life. Silver Smoke Ghoul, 2 and a black creature, zombie, vampire. It's a 3/1. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return Silver Smoke Ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. 1 and a black, sacrifice Silver Smoke Ghoul, draw a card. Suffer the past, X and a black, instant, exile X cards, X target cards from your graveyard. Sorry, I'll start again. Exile X target cards from target player's graveyard. For each card exiled this way, that player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Vampire Nighthawk's in the deck. 1 and 2 black, 2/3 with flying, death touch, and most importantly, lifelink. Cultivate's in here. 2 and a green, sorcery, search the library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. So yeah, we're in green, so I suspect we're going to see some green staples here. Gift of Paradise, 2 and a green, enchantment aura, enchant land. When Gift of Paradise enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Enchanted land is tapped, add 2 mana of any one colour. Pulse of Marasa, 2 and a green, instant, return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand, you gain 6 life. Rampant Growth in here, 1 and a green, sorcery, search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Leyland Prowler, 1 black-green creature, nightmare beast with death touch and lifelink, tap, add 1 mana of any colour, it's a 2/3. Moldavine Reclamation, 3 green black enchantment, whenever a creature you control dies you gain 1 life and draw a card. Arcane Signet, this appears to be in all the decks so far, so 2 to cast, tap, add 1 mana of any colour in your commander's colour identity. Elixir of Immortality is in here, no surprise in a life gain deck. 1 to cast, 2 tap, you gain 5 life, shuffle Elixir of Immortality in your graveyard into their owner's hand, into their owner's library. Paradise Plume, 4 to cast. As Paradise Plume enters the battlefield, choose a colour. Whenever a player casts a spell of the chosen colour, you may gain 1 life. Tap, add 1 mana of the chosen colour. Pristine Talisman is in here. 3 to cast, tap, add colourless, you gain 1 life. Soul Ring, no surprise again. 1 to cast, tap, add 2 colourless. Sun Droplets in here. 2 to cast, artifact, whenever you're dealt damage, put that many charge counters on Sun Droplet. At the beginning of each upkeep, you may remove a charge counter from Sun Droplet. If you do, gain 1 life. Talisman of Resistance, so this is the black-red talisman. It's 2 to cast, tap for colourless, tap black or green. Talisman of Resilience deals 1 damage to you. Blighted Woodland, tap, add colourless, 3 and a green, sacrifice Blighted Woodland, search your library for 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Now we go over to some new cards. Blightmount, 2 and a black, attacking pests you control, get +1/+0 and have menace. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature. Token with when this creature dies you gain 1 life. So pests are in the deck, or a pest generator. 3 and a black, sorcery, you gain 2 life. Each creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Marshland Bloodcaster, 4 and a black, creature, vampire, warlocks, 3/5 with flying. 1 and a black, tap. Rather than pay the mana cost of the next spell you cast this turn, you may pay life equal to that spell's mana value. Tivish Gloom Summoner, 4 and a black, 4/4 legendary creature, human warlock with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this way, you may pay X, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn, so you're paying X life. If you do, create an XX black demon creature token with flying. Vanewitch Coven, 2 and a black, 3/3 creature, vampire, warlock with menace. Whenever you gain life, you may pay black. If you do, return target creature card from a graveyard to your hand. Blossoming Bog Beast, 4 and a green, 3/3 creature beast. Whenever Blossoming Bog Beast attacks, you gain 2 life. Then creatures you control gain trample and get +X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. As a root channeler, 5 and a green creature, treefolk druid. It's a 4/6 with reach. Creature spells you cast cost X less the cost, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Tap, you gain 2 life. Healing technique, 3 and a green sorcery with demonstrate on it. Whenever you cast a spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for their copies. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. You gain life equal to that card's mana value. Exile healing technique. Pest infestation, XX and a green. Sorcery, destroy up to X target artifacts and or enchantments. Create twice X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Sprout back Trudge, 7 2 green creature fungus beast. So 9/7. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Trample. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, you may cast Sprout back Trudge from your graveyard. Trudge Garden, 2 and a green enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 4/4 green fungus beast creature token with trample. So we have a green legendary here. The 4 and a green for Eudora Grave Gardener. It's a 5/5 legendary creature, treefolk druid. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's hand. It's a forest land. Revival experiment. It's pretty different artwork on this. 4 black-green sorcery. For each permanent type, return up to 1 of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. You lose 3 life for each card. Return this way. Exile revival experiment. Witch's Clinic. So of course we're still on the new cards here. This is a land. Tap, add colourless. 2 tap target commander gains lifelink until end of turn. Now we're back to the reprints. Blood Tracker, 3 and a black creature, vampire wizard with flying. Black, pay 2 life, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Tracker. When Blood Tracker leaves the battlefield, draw a card for each 1/1 counter on it, and it's a 2/2. Damnable Past, X and 2 black, sorcery. Target player draws X cards and loses X life. Deadly Tempest, 4 and 2 black, sorcery. Destroy all creatures. Each player loses 1 life equal to the number of creatures they controlled that were destroyed this way. Defiant Bloodlord, 5 and 2 black, 4/5 creature vampire with flying. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Noxious Gear Hulk, 4 and 2 black, 5/4 artifact creature construct. It's actually a mythic. It's got menace. When Noxious Gear Hulk enters the battlefield, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. Obnixilis Reignited is the planeswalker in the deck. 3 and 2 black, legendary planeswalker Nixilis. It's got 5 loyalty. Its +1 is you draw a card and you lose 1 life. -3 is destroy target creature, and the -8 ultimate is target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 life. Sangromancer, 2 and 2 black, creature vampire shaman with flying. It's a 3/3. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may gain 3 life. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3 life. Sanguine Blood is in the deck. 3 and 2 black enchantment. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Taste of Death, 4 and 2 black, sorcery. Each player sacrifices 3 creatures. You create 3 food tokens. They're artifacts with 2 tap. Sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. Aetus Entity is in the deck. 3 and 2 green, 4/4 creature elemental. Whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on Aetus Entity. Shifting down a bit. There we go. Nissa's Renewal, 5 and a green, sorcery. Such a library for up to 3 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. You gain 5 life. Verdant Sun's Avatar, 5/2 green for a 5/5 creature dinosaur avatar. Whenever Verdant Sun's avatar or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Graze of Granite, X, 2 black and a green. Sorcery, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value of X or less. Gluttonous Troll, 2 black green, 3/3 creature troll with trample. When it enters the battlefield, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. 1 of the green, sacrifice another non-land permanent. Gluttonous Troll gets +2/+2 till end of turn. Sapling Colfanor, 3 hybrid black green. Legendary creature tree folk shaman. It's to 2/5 with indestructible. So whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you gain life equal to that card's toughness, lose life equal to its power, then put it into your hand. Okay. Alhammeret's Archive, 5 to cast legendary artifact. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead, so super handy in this deck. If you would draw a card except the first one, you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Druidic Satchel's in here, 3 to cast artifact, 2 tap, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. If it's a land card, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. If it's a non-creature, non-land card, you gain 2 life. Loxodon Warhammer. So I suspect we're going to see quite a few sort of staple artifacts in this deck. Has been often the case with the other decks so far. 3 to cast, Loxodon Warhammer, artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has trample and knife lick. Equipped for 3. Fencer's Journal. 5 to cast, you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of upkeep, you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. Well of Lost Dreams. 4 to cast, artifact. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than equal to the number of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. Exotic Orchard is in the deck, so we're moving on to non-basic lands now. Add 1 mana of any colour that a land an opponent controls could produce. High Market's in here. Tap, add colourless. Tap, sacrifice a creature. You gain 1 life. Llanowar Wastes. Tap to add colourless. Tap, add black or green. Llanowar Waste deals 1 damage to you. So we're seeing a cycle of these in all the commander decks for this year, for 2021. Temple of Melody. So enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you scry for 1. Tap, add black or green. So we're also seeing the scry lands as well. Command Towers in every deck. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour in your commander's colour identity. Gingerbread Cabin. It's a land. Forest. Tap, add green. When it enters the battlefield tapped, unless you control 3 or more other forests. When it enters the battlefield, untap to create a food token. Okay. Golgari Rot Farm. As I pointed out before, all of the original Ravnica bounce lands are in here. So enters the battlefield tapped. It does bounce a land, but that can be any land. It's not just basic lands, it can bounce. But once it comes online, it gets to tap for both black and green. And we've got the life lands in here, so these enter the battlefield tapped. You gain life when they enter the battlefield, and once they go online, they tap for black or green. And again, it's a cycle of those across all of the decks. Myriad Landscape appears to be in all the decks, or so far anyway. Enters the battlefield tapped, add colourless, 2 tap, sacrifice Myriad Landscape. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards then that share a land type, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Radiant Fountain. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Tap for colourless. Rogue's Passage is in this deck. Tap, add colourless, 4 tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Very useful land addition to a commander deck. Sapseed Forest. Tap, add green. Enters the battlefield tapped. Green tap. You gain 1 life. Activate only if you control 2 or more green permanents. Tainted Woods in here. So it taps for colourless. You can tap and add black or green, but you can only do that if you control the swamp. Temple of False Gods in here. We see this in a lot of Commander products. Tap, add 2 colourless, activate only if you control 5 or more lands. And now we move on to the actual basic lands. So with these, you can see by the logo, they're all coming from Strixhaven, and they're just the 2 pieces of artwork for each of the on-colour basic lands. I've been through these. So yeah, this is what I was going to talk about again. If you haven't seen the unboxings, so this is a slightly thicker than normal card. It's basically a copy of the main Commander, but it's in this sort of etched foil, and it's been etched from the outside, just the top and bottom. It looks the same, but it's been etched onto this thicker plastic card. So think of it as an alternative to those oversized foil cards you used to get in the product. So this can be used as your Commander. Obviously you can't really shuffle it into the deck because it would act like a marked card, because it would really stick out. It's the same size, but it has a completely different quality to it, the way the foiling is. I don't know whether that's, you know, basically particularly why that is, whether it's because of the way it may have been etched onto this, or the fact that the background of it, you know, might be more of a matte finish underneath it all, but definitely quite a big difference. I actually prefer the foiling on the regular Magic card, but like I said, it has a different quality to it. It's much more muted, and as a consequence, well, I suppose the same sort of things stick out. So now we move on to our tokens section. So we've got food and a pest. We're probably going to see a lot of these because there are lots of things seem to be creating food tokens. Foods and pests. Food and pest. What a combination. Food and pest. Food, pest. It's funny, these are double-sided. I wonder if they've ever been tempted to just make these all foil. Sapling and food. Food and sapling. A demon and a fungus beast. Demon and a fungus beast. A demon and a fungus beast, and then your final little card explaining how turns work in Magic and the popular Magic formats. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting deck. So obviously what we've got here is something that's, you know, initially a life gain, and then you're using that life gain to obviously do something useful with it. And that's how the whole deck seems to come together. I wasn't sure if they were going to have a bit more of, because it's like a green-black deck, whether there would be some sort of graveyard shenanigans sub-theme in here. But I think, you know, you can't have too many things going on. There, I'm just looking back through here. So there we have it. Hopefully that was useful in terms of showing you the deck if you were thinking about purchasing this. There we go. I just wanted to try and show the two commanders side by side there. This one certainly looks really good foiled, actually. I don't know if you can see those popping out. Anyway, there we have it. That's the Witherbloom Witchcraft deck, yep, in black green. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.